Stories live, stories inspire, stories teach, provoke, and stay forever. And yes, every story matters.
I'm sure, like me, if you are also asked, if you're an Indian and if you're asked, name top leaders, top women leaders in India, then you invariably look at the banking sector, and then you invariably, there are few names that come to mind. And topmost name that comes to our mind is Shikha Sharma, MD and CEO of Axis Bank. What makes a powerful leader? What makes a leader stand out? What makes someone start in the same race but just go so far ahead? Let's find out, let's learn today from none other than Shikha Sharma, MD CEO of Axis Bank.
Thank you.
So Shikha, you come from an army background. Uh, you know, take us through the journey, the early days, and in what ways do you think your background has shaped the person to the leader you are today?
So I've actually come from a, I guess, a privileged background in many ways, in that I was the firstborn grandchild in the family, and for that generation, I was given equal opportunity with my brothers. My father was as ambitious about me as he was about the sons. And so when it came to education or it came to any other opportunity or expectation of the family in terms of what I would do academically, there was no difference between me and my brothers. And that, I think, shapes a lot of your own thinking and your own self-perception, because I do believe in this whole Pygmalion effect, right? So if somebody thinks that you have something in you, then you try that much harder.
Yeah.
And I think that already improves the chances of success. And as you grow older, then that success kind of feeds on itself, and you start believing that you can try and achieve stuff. And that positive attitude makes a huge difference to later times in life. So I do think that I was lucky in that I was born into the family that I was in, and my father and my family gave me equal opportunity. So that, I think, has been a very important part of who I am. But the other important thing has been in the army. Life was pretty simple. Um, Daddy would go to work, and mom would be with us, and social life was automatically taken care of because we lived in army colonies. So you made friends there, but there was no permanence because every 2-3 years you moved from one station to another. So you just learn to adapt quickly, make friends, and move on when you moved on. If I compare that to my children, where we've kind of had all our professional life in Mumbai, they find it very hard to change schools. They find it very hard to move cities because they have to give up their friends. And for us, it was part of life. So adapting and adjusting became a part of life as well. So I think those were clearly two important things that happened for me in my formative years. One, learning to believe in myself because my parents believed in me and pushed me. And the second was adaptability because we kept shifting homes and you had to make new friends every couple of years.
Not many people who would have started with you would have reached where you have. And today, people who are starting up or in mid career, what makes a leader go on top? If you had to look back, what were all those things that got you where you are?
So, I think that first thing that I talked about of belief,
Yeah.
that's a very important part of success. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then nobody's going to believe in you.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe, you're not going to try. And if you don't try wholeheartedly, then you've already destroyed your chances of success. So I think keeping that positive attitude, which everybody talks about, but I think that positive attitude really makes a big difference. That you have to keep trying. You have to hope that things will turn out right and give it your very best. That's an important part of success. And you will stumble, and how quickly you pick yourself up when you stumble and you go and try the next race is an important part of succeeding and getting there. Everything is not going to be rosy. You're not going to get what you want at all points of time. So believe in yourself and pick yourself up when you stumble. And the third, in today's world, which is changing so rapidly, I think keeping your skills relevant is
Yeah.
important. So sometimes we think, we develop an attitude of, I've done all of this, so I deserve it. And that attitude doesn't help at all, because you may have done everything in life, but if you haven't kept yourself relevant to today's skills, then you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to not keep looking backwards, you have to keep looking forwards, and you have to therefore see how relevant are you to today's marketplace, and make sure that you're learning and you're growing every day and you're making a difference to whatever you're doing every day. That's the only way to stay relevant and stay competitive.
Shikha, for someone like you, have you experienced failure?
Of course. Failure comes in many different ways, right? Failure comes because you thought you wanted to do something and that didn't happen. Or failure comes because you start a project and it doesn't succeed, right? So I wanted to get into IIT, I didn't get through the IIT entrance exams.
But you went to a great college.
I went to a great college, but the first setback for me was when I sat for the IIT entrance exams and I didn't get through in the IIT entrance exams. And then I did try for IIM Ahmedabad, and I got IIM Ahmedabad, and I got LSR, and those were great colleges and institutions to be educated at. But not getting to IIT was a setback. I could have gone into a shell and said, oh, I didn't get this, so now maybe I shouldn't try. But as I said, pick yourself up and go try for the next opportunity, and that'll come along. And then at the workplace as well, I mean, different opportunities come up. You may think that you're as good as the next person in that, and why haven't you got it? Why has somebody else got it? That happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it happened to me as much as it would happen to anyone else. And not brooding too much about that and saying, that was one opportunity, it went by fine, so let me try for something else.
Tell your story in few words. What would it be if you had to write your own story, journey so far?
I was talking to one of my children about career and stuff. And I was telling him that, luck and pluck both have their roles in life. And you have to recognize that both have their roles in life. Fortunately for people today, there are a lot of choices. So hopefully if you're giving yourself your best and you're retaining the positive attitude, you will find what is good for you and what you can excel at. But if you recognize that luck and pluck both are important, then when something doesn't come your way, you are able to dust it off and move on, because you can blame it on the luck factor. Okay, and yet if you recognize that pluck is equally important, then you will give your best the next time as well, and you'll know that without giving your best, you're not going to get it. So I think that helps shape the right attitude in life.
Yes.
That you keep giving it, and when you don't get it, you're able to move on.
Amazing. You are in an industry which is still in 2016 very, very still male dominated. You've created a place for yourself, for women to look up to someone like you. Tell us, how has it been? The perception? Did you have to face all these challenges which we hear women in tech face a lot?
I think banking in India has definitely seen a lot more successful women than a lot of other industries in India. So I think women probably run 50% of the banking industry by size today in India, which is quite dramatic and probably doesn't happen anywhere else in the world.
You should be so proud of yourself.
I think we should feel happy, but pride, as I said, is a dangerous place to get to, right? Because you've got to stay hungry all the time, and you have to keep trying. But was it difficult in the early years? Again, frankly, I'm not a great example because, as I said, I was lucky to be born to the family that I was born into, which gave me equal opportunity. And then I was very lucky to have ICICI as the first organization that I started working at, which was truly gender neutral in the way it approached people at the workplace. So whether it was Mr. Nadkarni, who was the chairman at the point that I joined ICICI, or Mr. Vagul or Kamath, they really didn't treat the men and women differently at all. And therefore, if you got a particular assignment, it was because of what you were willing to do and what skills they saw in you. But gender didn't hold you back at all.
Since you've joined in the last few years, what did you bring to the table that things have just turned positive and positive for Axis Bank?
So first of all, I think I was lucky to get the opportunity in Axis at the point that I was ready to move on from ICICI. So timing wise, it turned out to be perfect timing, and it was a great institution at the point that I was asked to lead it. Some very well created business lines, whether it was a retail deposit franchise, whether it was a debt capital markets business, or whether it was the SME business, or even the government business. There were lots of very well set up businesses, and a really nice team of people. And the culture was a very nice culture. You know, many organizations are not easy for newcomers to enter in and feel part of the organization. Axis has had, and I think continues to have, a very welcoming culture. So lateral hires have found it easy to adjust into the Axis culture. So I have to admit that, you know, I was lucky from both of those fronts. Good business, great team, and the right culture. And after that, I think what I brought to the table was a personal leadership style which was more collaborative, where I could work with this great team of people and see what are the assets we had already built and how we can build on them for the future and become stronger as an institution, both in terms of our businesses and our skills, and develop an attitude of not becoming complacent.
And talking about future, what are your plans with the startup community in India? Is Axis Bank, are you particularly looking at engaging with the startup community? Because most of our readers watching would be startups and entrepreneurs, and they'd love to know that.
My husband and I have both been professionals. We have both worked with large institutions. I for a large part with ICICI, Sanjay, my husband, with the Tatas. But we've both been lucky that within that institutional context, we have had the opportunity to do startups. So I set up the investment banking business for ICICI, I set up the retail lending business for ICICI, and I then set up the life insurance business for ICICI. And my husband set up custom e-learning business for the Tatas. So within an institutional environment, we've had the opportunity to do startups. And we've both found that exciting and very, very energizing. And professionally, at Axis Bank, we certainly believe that it's going to be a big opportunity going forward. And we would love to see, as a bank and as a financial services business, what can we do to partner some of these startups as they go about doing their business. So, you know, it could be the simplest of things, like when you're busy thinking about your business, you don't want to be wasting your time thinking about how to open a bank account, what are the formalities to be done for that, etc. So how can we make that simple for you? How can we make your transaction banking simple? How can we help you find technology solutions for financial services stuff, integrate with what you need to do for your customers? So those are the simplest of things. And then as you grow and you need capital and you need funding, obviously we as a bank would be very happy to work with the startups and saying, how can we find solutions which are bankable and which add value to this new breed of entrepreneurs.
New breed. Would you be open to consider acquisitions, investments, financial investments in
some of the startups?
Yeah.
We have done that very selectively. So what we have done with a lot of new economy startups is actually partner with them in one, finding financial solutions for them, but two, piloting a lot of their products and saying how can we be an important first client or second client for some of the startup entrepreneurs and see how we can help take those products to market. While we have done that, we have occasionally made some investments as well. But really, I think the investment has been around how to co-develop that business model and take it to market. And we see some amazing entrepreneurs out there, and we see lots of opportunities to work together on that front.
You told about luck and pluck, and but is it your story? If you had to say your story, what would be your story, Shikha Sharma's story?
I think luck clearly has had a big role to play. As I said, I was lucky to be born into the family that I was born in. I was lucky to be into my first job at ICICI. I was very lucky to come to Axis. So I think luck has definitely had
Are you
a
a
role to
positive
play.
person who sees things positively?
I think so, clearly.
Yeah.
I certainly am. And one of the coping mechanisms is when you believe in luck, then you see the positivity of that luck. But when things go wrong, you blame it on luck. And and then you're able to dust it off and move on as well. So luck can become a negative thing. If you say, "Boss, I didn't get it, it's all about luck." And then you become complacent and you don't try hard enough. But luck can also be a very positive sentiment if you blame the failures on luck, but
You don't take your success too personally.
you don't take your success or failure too personally, and you're able to pick yourself up and start again, because that's totally critical. That you can't waste your time thinking about the past. You have to spend your time thinking about the future. And I think that's something which is fairly deep-rooted in me, that I do not waste my time thinking about the past.
Wow. I think this is going to be very motivating for all our readers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You're being too kind.
No.
I think there are many, many role models, and I have had many to look up to.
Your grit, your positivity, and this whole thing of moving on really comes across. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Founders realize as they grow that it's very lonely. And did you ever experience loneliness? And
Oh, yes.
And how did you deal with it?
I think when you're a founder or you're the chairman or the leader of a company, every tough decision is a lonely decision.
What's your story, Zia Modi's story? What would you say if you had to write your story?
So my story is really one of being provided an ecosystem which at every single milestone of my life allowed me to be my professional best.